a couple of days after I came back from the retreat on which I experienced the Kensho awakening, I was walking down the high street near my house on the way to pick up my 2 year old daughter from nursery. Now, I've walked down this street many, many times, but this occasion was very different because I clearly saw that everything was me. And this was particularly obvious to me with things that I might otherwise have turned away from or considered unsightly. For example, there was a shuttered shop that lay vacant, had the shutters down, graffiti all over it, quite tatty. And I remember looking at this and thinking, oh, that is the most beautiful thing. It's me. It's I. I'm not separate from that. And the litter on the floor and the bits of dirt, it was stunning. It was beautiful. It was heart opening. And as I was walking down the street, there were people coming towards me, obviously stuck in their heads. And at this point, soon after my Kensho, I was very empty of Simon. And I wasn't sure at that point if to what degree Simon was going to return. And so this emptiness was so pronounced. And so it was so clear that everyone else was empty too. And that, this idea of me and other was a complete illusion. It was everyone, me, others, are all expressions of that. And so again, from a direct recognition of this, it was a direct consequence was love, this open-heartedness. So a felt sense of it's all me. So rather than that kind of slight contraction that comes from other, me and other, there was this opening. However, the mind cannot get this. The mind cannot understand or wrap its head round the me mind, that is. The me mind cannot wrap its head round the idea that fundamentally I am all alone as eternity and infinity. Like, try wrapping your head around that. And so I remember walking down the street and thoughts might come up trying to understand what was so clearly seen. And I'm so grateful that I'd been so kind of immersed in spirituality and non-duality for so long, particularly that first primary insight of I'm not my thoughts, I'm aware of my thoughts, because that capacity to see a narrative and let it go without getting lost in it was so important, because the me mind cannot understand what I'm talking about here. And I could see if I'd have got into that thought stream, it would have been incredibly discombobulating and then fear would have arisen. So I had to keep dropping it. And I still do, trying to understand this insight. You can speak about it to a degree, but not really, not truly to capture it. You can only know it directly and feel it and understand it on a felt heart level. So leaving the mind out of it really is really important, because it can bring on fear. Now, the me mind, the ego, which gets such a hard rap, I think it's so valuable, and I've really learned this over the years, is that when the me mind rises in the form of the inner critic or fear or what's going to happen or any of those stories that afflict everyone to varying degrees, is to observe and allow and know it's not you, but also to have for me, to have a compassion and a warmth and a welcoming for it, like it's an annoying child, annoying sweet child on the back seat going, are we there yet? Are we there yet? You don't have to get out and look in the back seat and go, please stop saying, are we there yet? We're going to get there when we get there. No, you can have a bit of fun with it. You can know it for what it is and have that energy of compassion for it. And I think this is really important, because again, if everything is me, if everyone is me, if everything is me, so are the thoughts. So there has to be that open-hearted compassion, loving acceptance of everything, thoughts included. So it's a welcoming of the thoughts. Now, how this really plays out in an important way is emotions, emotional inquiry. So many people, as I've said many times, want awakening or enlightenment as a way to not have to deal with what's going on, not have to deal with feelings of fear or shame. And in my view, there is a weakness in a lot of the way people approach feelings and emotions of just be aware of it, allow it to be there. Because when you do that, often there will be that subtle agenda to get rid of it. But actually, if you can have a compassionate curiosity for what's going on, for your shame, for your fear, for your sadness, for your anger, and be really open and accepting, but tune in a relational way to what does this feeling need? Because that changes things a little bit. And when you have that intention to what does this feeling need? What's it trying to tell me? Then it is a bit like dealing with a child. And that's why people talk about inner child work. And so having that intention to love and have compassion for our feelings and emotions and tune into what they need and then do what it needs, what they need. And that might just be with me. Don't reject me. Now, I was working with someone who was talking about like, how do I love my feelings? And what came to mind was a time I took my daughter to the dentist and she was scared. And what did I do? I was with her like this. I was just present with her, open-hearted. And so that's it. We all know how to be with our feelings. It's when we start trying to, what do I do? No, it's an intention to tune in and what do our feelings need? That's the essence of emotional inquiry and is so important. Again, it's all you, it's all me, and that includes your feelings. So having that open heartedness for our feelings is so vital. And then in sort of day-to-day life is really mundane seeming things are also you. So the fridge, the laundry, the washing up. And so this is why even the most mundane stuff can then be infused with this love and mystery. You know, so often we chase those the grand moments and those sort of mundane moments we write off as these are just stepping stones to get somewhere else. But when you really directly recognize it's all you, then even the most mundane thing, folding clothes, washing dishes, can become infused with this incredible open-hearted sense of wonder. And then we don't need to be chasing the highs and avoiding the lows. Now the mind again wants to rush and yes, but what about my goals? What about my identity? What about what's going to happen? And, you know, I've noticed my mind or the mind come back and start doing that. But feeling into this understanding of feeling into this recognition of no, it's all you and staying with that and staying with the heart rather than the head. Because an insight I have is like nature does not rush. Nature does not rush, and yet everything gets done at just the right moment. The mind wants to rush. The heart can embrace every moment because it's all you. Now, how this plays out in relationships has been rather wonderful. Um, so I don't, it's that sense of not needing people to be a certain way. Now, I really noticed this, funny enough, with my parents. I can see them squabble and, you know, previously that would have been, oh, please stop that. But now, for some reason, I find it so endearing and sweet. And I don't play any part in the dynamic. And so when you don't need people to be a certain way, the paradox is, it seems, they soften. And this has happened with my kids, like my our eldest daughter. You know, when she's thrown some tantrums and tried to press my buttons, and it's just that, nope, I'm not playing. I don't want to be on the other end of that dynamic. There's nowhere for it to push against. And so she now knows that when she starts doing that, I'm just still and silent, it drops. And she even admitted it, and we had a laugh about it. When I go into that, I'm not going to react and respond in the way that I might previously have done. It just drops. And it's so lovely to have that open-hearted sense of not needing people to be a certain way, and love then naturally flows. And the paradox is the dynamics shift all on their own. And I've noticed that with my parents, with my wife, my kids, and it's beautiful. So, my sense is that we can live in alignment with this understanding, even if you haven't had that direct experience. And I'm going to talk more about the retreat soon. And there's a reason I haven't spoken about it yet. And put it this way, there is going to be opportunities for other people to experience what I've experienced. So if you can bear with me on that front. But as well, even after awakening, this emotional inquiry I'm talking about is so valuable and important, because old habitual patterns of I don't want to feel that, or I don't want to, or I've got this battle with my mind can still linger. So getting this emotional inquiry and self-inquiry in place and get it going even before a direct experience of awakening can be so valuable. And so if I return to that scene of me walking down the high street, like nothing's changed and yet everything's changed. Knowing that everyone and everything is me. Not trying to wrap my head around it, but knowing it, feeling that, and being open-hearted to what is, to even that person, even that situation, really, even that feeling. Open-heartedness to everything, because it's all you. And this, just as a final thought, this really makes me think about my favorite line from my recent conversation with Susanna Marie, who said, do you want truth for truth's sake, or do you want it for yourself with a bit of an agenda? Because truth for truth's sake is complete open-heartedness to what is. So next time you're walking down a street, see others and know they are you. Know everything's you. And try and operate from that place, even if you haven't yet had that direct experience yet. Sending you lots of love wherever you are. If you resonate with what I share about awakening, self-inquiry, and emotional honesty, I want to share a few words about my coaching. I work with people one-to-one who are drawn to this path of waking up, growing up, and cleaning up, as they say, through deep presence, through self-inquiry, through emotional inquiry. I meet people where they're at, and deep transformation is absolutely possible. Now, I've been quietly growing this side of my work, and sessions are filling up fast. So I may have to soon phase out consultations, particularly with the group work and the retreats I'm going to be focusing on in 2026. But if this speaks to you, book a consultation via the link down below. Let's meet, let's talk, and let's see if I can help.